Hi everyone watching at home, which is everyone, because you're not allowed to watch from anywhere else. So we're here with Laura Hancock, and Hannah, James, Laura and Jenna are going to be asking questions. So I guess the first question for you, Laura, is who are you?
That's a great question. My name's Laura, no surprises there. I work for an organisation called Youth for Christ, who are really cool. We are all about seeing young people come to know Jesus for the first time and helping young people who are Christians to share their faith with their friends. So I spend a lot of my time thinking through how to do that, thinking through how to help youth workers, help young people to do that. I'm married to a guy called Andy, who's amazing. He's the youth pastor in our church. So I spend a lot of time hanging out with our youth group. I've got a dog called Archie, who may or may not feature on this at some point. He's quite sociable, so if he hears me talking to people and walks past the door, he'll probably venture in at some point. I live just outside of Birmingham, and I do things like running, and I go shopping, probably too often. I eat a lot of food. I like to read. I really like dogs. Those are probably, you probably know everything you need to know about me in that.
Just to throw a quick question in there, Laura, do you think this is a dog's idea of heaven right now because of the amount of attention they get from people?
Do you know, I actually think I'm doing my dog's head in a little bit. I think initially he really enjoyed me being around, but I've noticed in the last week he's gone off of me, and I think he's now like, I just want my own space. Go away.
Get out the house. Yeah,
genuinely. Stop stroking me. I just want some peace and quiet. So maybe it's the ideal for dogs whose owners are less annoying than me. That might be the one. I have tried dressing up my dog over lockdown. Like, when I get bored, my dog, unfortunately, is often the one who suffers. Yeah.
Jenna, do you want to go?
Yeah, okay. What is the soundtrack of your life?
That's a great question. There's a lot of bands that I like. So normally, one of the bands that I probably listen to most regularly is a band called Oh Wonder. I really love them. And actually, I was at an Oh Wonder gig just before we went on lockdown. So, and I'm really making myself sound like I'm obsessed with dogs. They have a dog that looks like my dog, which makes me like them even more. So yeah, in terms of bands that I like, I love Oh Wonder. Vance Joy as well is another person that I like. So I'm often on my playlists, they will be there featuring. They're really, really good. So if you haven't listened to either of those, then I thoroughly recommend checking them out. They are incredible. Yeah, really, really good. What do you guys? How would you guys answer that question? What would you guys say?
It's quite tricky. There's a lot to choose from.
If you have to go with like a gut reaction, what's the first name which comes to your head?
Name? I have no idea. You know. Probably
James.
I like a guy called Masego. He does like a bit of jazz with like hip hop, and he does a bit of everything.
Interesting. Masego.
Yeah.
I'm writing it down. Masego. How do you spell it? M-E-S?
Masego.
Well, this afternoon, I'm going to check it out. Masego. John.
I think just to throw mine in that, I would probably still, after a lot of umming and ahhing over the last year or so for obvious reasons, I would probably still just about say Michael Jackson because it's so interwoven. Yeah, just because it's so interwoven into my childhood and stuff, and it was my first gig and all of those things. So yeah, that's just about, but with a lot of caveats in there, I think at the same time.
Would that include the dancing while you're listening, or are you just a listening kind of guy?
I'm definitely, I can't stop moving at the best of times, so I'm definitely a dancing very, very badly while I listen type of person, thinking I'm looking like Michael Jackson, but probably looking more like Will from The In-Betweeners while doing it. So that would be me. and then probably also a bit of Britney, bit of probably, I can't even believe I'm admitting this, a bit of Spice Girls probably as well, just because that's kind of my time and stuff, and girl power and all that.
Girl
So
power.
yeah, that would be it. And a bit of Justin Bieber.
Interesting.
I'm a
Poppy
pop
vibe.
nurse, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the pop round on a quiz, Joe, you're the person to have around.
Yeah, as long as it is anything between like 1986 and 2006,
Right.
and then about 2014 onwards. There was a massive like gap there, which I'm not quite sure what happened. I think that was like when I was into musicals and stuff. So that's pretty what. You know, musical theatre people, they tend to only listen to musicals. So yeah, that's probably it.
I like that. That's fun. That's strong. That's good. Yeah, a bit of Britney. Amazing. Love
Always.
it. Beyonce, actually. I love Beyonce as well. That's big Beyonce fan. Huge.
Oh yeah.
So good.
Definitely busted a few Beyonce moves in my room at various points. On that note, Laura, what would your music choice be?
Musical songs, probably.
Oh yeah, so you're the person I described a second ago, aren't you?
Yeah, pretty much.
What's like top musical for you?
Matilda.
Interesting. I've not seen that yet.
Such a good musical.
It is very good.
Okay.
Laura, are you looking forward to Hamilton being on Disney Plus?
Yes. I'm going to watch it. It's going to be so good. Everyone else is going to hate me in my house, but that's a shame.
We need to do like a Hamilton watch party or something like that.
Yeah.
That is
Hannah, how about you?
I quite like Linkin Park at the moment.
Nice.
Yeah.
And also like a bit of like classical stuff as well. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hannah's a musician.
Yes, flute, right? Is it mainly flute, or are there other instruments as well?
I play mainly flute and I play piano as well.
Good work. Wow, impressive.
Cool. Okay, who's got the next question? Laura, I think it's you, isn't it?
Yeah. What are you enjoying the most about quarantine?
Do you know, I actually really love quarantine. I know, like, for a lot of people, it's a really difficult time, really like tough for loads of people. And I know people are having a really, really tough time. I think I'm quite enjoying it myself. I'm enjoying that my husband and I actually see each other, which is lovely, because often we're doing like youth group all the time and at church stuff, so that's quite nice. But I'm particularly enjoying that all of a sudden I can have a lot of fun, like I'm going out and doing something, but I can still be in like just random clothes. So for example, my friend, he started doing DJ sets on YouTube. So every Friday night he does a DJ set, and loads of us then get on house party and like watch each other and just dance around our living rooms together, and that's really, really fun. I'm really enjoying that, and I'm really enjoying that I can just wear like whatever I want. So I've bought some crazy leggings over the last few weeks, and I'm absolutely loving it. And I know that like it's just the people that I'm living with that can experience that. So there's lots that I'm enjoying. There's lots of stuff that I'm enjoying, making really simple things fun. So at Easter, we got some Easter eggs. And normally, if it was a normal non-lockdown Easter, I'd just eat my Easter egg and it wouldn't stand a chance. This year, I made a milkshake in my Easter egg and then like put squirty cream on top of it, put an Oreo cookie in it, put a straw in it. And so it's like you're trying to make the little things special, and I quite enjoy that. It's made me loads more grateful for like loads of stuff that would normally just be average, like going for a walk, or even going to the supermarket is really exciting now. And so I'm really enjoying just the really simple things being the most exciting thing ever. So yeah, there's a lot I'm enjoying about lockdown. I actually also managed to watch the whole of New Amsterdam as well on Prime, which is a box set I've been meaning to watch for ages. So yeah, loads of stuff I'm enjoying. Absolutely loads.
I'm looking forward to what Facebook says in like 5 years' time when it brings out the highlights this time. It's all just going to be people at supermarkets and stuff, isn't it? And
yeah, with masks on and gloves on.
yeah. Like Face ID is going to have an absolute field day for Facebook for tagging people.
Yeah. People look back at their TikToks from 5 years ago and you're like, I had loads of time on my hands then. It's like recreating dances. But yeah.
Literally. Okay, Hannah.
Yes. What are you looking forward to the most after quarantine?
I think going out for food. I love eating with people, and I think there's something really nice about like just going out somewhere and eating together. That'd be really nice. I'm really excited about seeing my parents. That would be nice. I think if you've got to live with your family the whole time and you don't see anyone else, it might do your head in. But I think because I've like not been able to see my parents for the whole time, I'm pretty excited about going and seeing them at some point. That will be good. But yeah, most of all, I think I'm just looking forward to going out for food with someone that tastes better than what I cook. And also there are people there that you see their actual faces in 3D. That will be really, really fun. Yeah.
What's the first restaurant you're going to go to? And I use the word restaurant really, really lightly here.
Yeah, well, my takeout game has really gone up since lockdown started. I'm eating a lot of takeout. Domino's are now doing 2 for Tuesday, which I'm absolutely made up with, and took full advantage of that this week. But there's by us, there's it's called Digbeth Dining Club. So basically it's kind of a place where loads and loads of kind of food vans go, but like it kind of festival vibes. And so the food is amazing, and oh my gosh, there's a cheesecake van which they basically do New York cheesecake, and you just load it with whatever toppings you want, and it's incredible. It's life-changing. They're on Instagram, so if you're a foodie you can check out the Dining Club on Insta. But I will go there, and they do amazing jerk chicken and cheesecake. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm so excited about it.
So an actual cheesecake van. That's
yeah,
I don't think I've ever seen one of those in my life.
Not
Not actually made of cheesecake, but
yeah, but it's incredible. And literally, they do like a Terry's chocolate orange one where it's like chocolate sauce, Terry's chocolate orange bits, fudge bits, flakes. And by the end, you feel really sick, but you think, yeah, that was worth it. That was pretty good.
Amazing.
Yeah. What are you guys looking forward to our lockdown? When you get out, like, what's the first thing?
Seeing people, I guess, people that we've missed, and experiencing things that I've missed, basically.
Yeah. What have you missed most, do you think, Jenna?
I think socialising with people.
Right.
Because I have a big friendship group, a load of friends, and like I haven't seen them in so long, so it's like, yeah, it's not nice being like just stuck in a little room. Feels like suffocating, but
yeah.
Are any of you starting to get to the point where you're realising that you miss like actual like physical connection more than you like thought you would? So like for me, the first thing I started missing was hugging, and that surprised me slightly.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Cool. Should we go for the next question?
Sure. As we're in like quite odd times at the moment, what do you think God's saying through like all of this and the situation and everything?
That's a big question. Very good one. What do I think God's saying? So I think God is saying to me something around that He has created humanity a certain way, and He wants us to be mindful of that. And what I mean is that I think we have almost the whole country's just had to stop and rest. And I think we can be so focused on doing, so focused on what we achieve, so focused on getting the right grades, or so focused on, I've got to do, I've got to be busy, I've got to be working so hard. And I wonder whether God is kind of going, actually, I also designed you to rest. I designed you to be still. I think faith-wise, it's really interesting. So I think all of a sudden, loads and loads of people can't be reliant on meeting in youth groups or meeting on a Sunday morning to be connecting with Jesus. And so all of a sudden, you've got to be like responsible for your own faith and your own feeding. Because as great as it is, like watching worship from a live stream, it's not the same as being in a room. And so all of a sudden, you've got to own your own worship and what that looks like. I think my clock's about to go off. Yeah, sorry about that. I think as well, there's something around valuing people. And it's this really funny thing where I think loads and loads of like older adults kind of looked at like devices and stuff before. I'm like, oh, you're on devices too much. And all of a sudden, loads of older people have had to be on devices all the time. But I think often a lot of the people who were on devices all the time, like you just said, Jenna, are actually just really missing people, and kind of recognising that Messenger or Zoom or whatever else, just DMing isn't the same as seeing someone in person. So I think there's something really interesting there as well about people who were previously a little bit sceptical of devices all of a sudden needing them and being dependent on them, and at the same time those of us who spent too much of time on our devices suddenly going, oh my gosh, I miss people and I miss being with people. So yeah, I think there's something in there about God resetting a little bit how we were created to be. And I think one thing that's really important for this season is that people reflect on, okay, well, what does God want me to take out of it? Because now I think as lockdown measures kind of ease and maybe go back again and maybe ease again, it will be really easy just to default back to how you did life before. And I do wonder whether there's stuff in this season that God wants to say, hey, what does it look like for your relationship with me just to be based on what goes on between us, rather than being at all these events and being at all these great youth groups and stuff. Yeah, so I think taking out of it, what is God wanting to change about the rhythms of your life is the question I'm pondering at the moment a little bit as well, I think. Yeah.
Kind of leads on to your question, Jenna, doesn't it?
Yeah, so how did your relationship with God impact your life as a teenager?
Yeah, really great. Massively, really massive. I think for a while as a teenager, when I was younger, being a Christian felt like this thing that I knew was really important to me, but I was also really nervous of what other people would think of it being a part of my life, and knew that I really love God and wanted to follow him, but at the same time kind of thinking it was something that I was nervous of sharing or had to protect in some way. And I think I got to a point where I realised that being in a relationship with God was the most normal thing in the world. It's what every single human being is created for. And so actually the fact that I was in relationship with God was the most normal. Like, it's literally what you're made to do. And so I think as I was growing up, having a relationship with God almost felt like an anchor for me. And so I knew what I was called to do with my life, or at least not exactly, but I knew the direction of it, and I knew that God had a bigger plan in that, and so that was okay. I guess I had confidence in the fact that not everybody agreed with what I thought, and not everybody wanted to live their life in a way that I wanted to live mine, but I knew that I wanted to live in the way that God had designed me to live. I think it gave me hope and confidence. It gave me peace. I think it very much shaped all of who I was. And that's not to say I got it right all the time by any stretch of the imagination, but I just think it gave me an underlying confidence to say, do you know what? I am connected to a God that created the world. I believe he designed me and us in a certain way. And so actually living in a way that is in relationship with him and following what he said is the best thing you can possibly do. And I guess telling your friends about Jesus is just inviting other people into that journey and saying, hey, I think I know how this works, this life thing. I've not got it nailed, but by any stretch, but I think if you could meet this God and you could let him impact your life and fall in love with him, then I really think life might make more sense to you. And so I guess it gave me a real confidence in the direction that I wanted to head in and some of the stuff that I wanted to do, and confidence in who I've been made to be as well. Because if you're quiet, it's fine. God's made you a quiet person or an introvert. If you're mega loud, God's made you like that for a reason, and that's cool. And you're not meant to be like anybody else because God's designed you to do things specifically for you for a purpose. So that's a really long answer, but I think it just kind of gave me confidence to be the shape that I was designed to be, and knew that I needed further shaping. But yeah, that was a lot of words. How does God impact the way that you guys are live and who you are? Would any of you guys say that you could answer that?
You go, Jenna.
I was gonna say, it feels like sometimes it's just a set of rules that I have to follow. but then it kind of makes you feel more secure when you know you've got rules and you've got sort of, I don't know, boundaries kind of, but securing you in place. So yeah, it's something to work towards, and yeah, that's how I take it, I guess.
Thank you. Lara, what were you going to say?
I think it like gives me confidence in what I say, because I know that I'm saying it like when, like, if you have a conversation with someone who doesn't believe in God and you're explaining, you realise like how passionate you are about it when you're like arguing with them about it, you know.
Yeah. What would you say, Hannah?
I think similar lines, yeah. And also, I think being aware of other people, and you get guidance from God, obviously, and is that a pathway? So yeah.
Great. James?
I'll just say it's like nice to know that there's someone there, like no matter what, will just always be there.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. And that your default setting is loved. That's the thing. Like, no matter what goes on, what you get wrong, what other people get wrong, that's like ultimately you're created, designed and loved. And that, I think, is a great place to start from. Good question. Strong.
How is your relationship with God helping you through this situation?
Ooh, so the one we're currently in, the lockdown sitch.
Yeah.
One thing that there's loads of stuff. I love reading. I love listening to podcasts and stuff. And something that God has been speaking to me about is an idea of trusting the story, which I'll explain it because it sounds a bit mad. But the idea that God created the world, God kind of made the world and humanity for a purpose, and that in that God is writing a story, and there's a massive big story that God is writing throughout humanity, through creation, and it's this incredible story of God bringing humanity back to himself and restoring the world and restoring people to who they were called to be, and that's in relationship with him and what that looks like. And so there's this big kind of trust the story thing. And I think in this, the way that my faith is impacting how I am at the minute is this idea of trust the story. Like, God is doing something in the world. He's doing something in the lives of like your mates who don't know Jesus right now at home. He's doing something in their story. He is writing a story globally at the moment. And actually, I think often things go wrong when we try and write the story for God. So when we try and take control, when we try and do things our own way, when we can try and control situations by not forgiving, by saying, well, okay, well, if I just work hard enough, that'll be okay. And I feel like God's just saying, you know, trust the story, trust what I'm doing here. Bits of the story aren't always the nicest. Like, it's not great that so many people are hurting and lonely, really, really not great. But equally, I know loads of churches who are making huge differences to people's lives. I know people that are watching church online who would never dream of walking into a church building. And so going, okay, whilst I don't know what's going on, I believe that God does know what's going on, and almost to trust the story that he's writing in that. Try and work that out and what it is that he's writing, and try and join in with it. So yeah, I guess it's like a big broad brushstrokes of that's just, yeah, trusting that God's up to something, I guess, and trying to work out what that is will be one way. Yeah.
Hannah.
How do you have so much confidence and faith?
Well, here's the thing. I think there's lots of areas where I definitely don't have confidence. Definitely don't. And so just the same as I'm sure there are loads of areas where you guys don't have confidence and areas where you probably do. So Jenna, you'd mentioned before about possibly wanting to go into social work or midwifery. And so I'm guessing that there's certain situations that if you find yourself in that situation, you're really confident because that's your area. And like, sure, you know what you're doing. Yeah, right. And maybe like for some people that's football or sport, or for some people it's gaming, or for some people it's like looking after kids. And that's their area and they know it, so they're confident. And I guess some of the areas where people come into contact with me is areas where I'm confident. So like I'm pretty comfortable talking on a stage, or pretty comfortable having conversations with people I don't know. But I wouldn't say that makes me confident all the way through. I think lots of people struggle with lack of confidence in loads of different areas. And I think there's loads of times where I get stuff wrong and I'm like, oh Laura, you're such an idiot, you've done that wrong again. But I think one area that it's really important to think through when it's confidence is just growing in it. So where there are areas where you're not confident, often like being alert to those areas. So if you feel like, well, one area that you would be unconfident is in your appearance, or that people like you, or there's an insecurity in that, I think being really aware of that and asking God to help you grow in it is really, really important. Because I think often I find about myself, when there are areas that I'm unconfident, that often plays out in a certain way. So for example, say I'm not confident about something and then someone comments on it, often I might get defensive because I'm not confident. I feel secure. I kind of go on the back foot. And I think it's really important to recognize that stuff and ask God to kind of grow that in you, because I think often when people aren't confident or are insecure in certain areas, that can be where you end up getting hurt and you end up hurting other people, but it's just to cover your own insecurity. So I would say I'm not massively confident. I'm probably comfortable with who I am. I'm comfortable in my own skin. And I think some of that goes back to what one of you guys asked before around how does God affect like who you are and how I was growing up, really. Just like knowing that you're created for something, knowing that there's a purpose, knowing that you're created as you for a purpose and a reason. So Hannah, you are musical and you're gifted at that, and I am not. I have a ukulele that I love to play, and my husband doesn't let me play it in the house because it is so bad, it annoys him. And some of my friends are amazing at art, and I'd love to be amazing at art, and I'm not, but I know that that's their gifting, and so I celebrate that. But I will do faithfully what I believe God has made me better at. And so so some of it is just, I guess, confidence in God, in that He's made me a certain way, and there are some things I'm not great at, but that's okay because other people are, and that's good. In terms of faith, I think the way that you grow faith is by letting yourself be put in situations where you can't do it on your own. And sometimes that will be really difficult situations that we don't go into by choice. Sometimes it will be super scary situations. So maybe it is inviting a friend to church, or offering to pray for a friend, or offering to pray for healing for a friend, or that kind of thing. But I think what makes someone step out of their comfort zone will look different for everybody. And so for some of you guys, you may be like super duper confident, and like you've invited all your friends to church, they all became Christians within a week, and that may have happened. But for some of you guys, even letting your friends know that you're a Christian, or for some young people, letting your friends know that you're a Christian is a big deal. And so I think it's pushing yourself and stepping out into an uncomfortable space, so that it will only work out if God comes through for you. And the more you do that, the more you go, things are okay. That worked. I'm all right. Okay, I'll be a bit braver next time. And so I think some of it is just gradually having the confidence to there's a quote that I love, and it says, dream dreams so big that they're doomed to failure unless God is in them. And I think some of it is starting that in the small, and finding like little ways to step out of a comfort zone and going, God, unless you pull through for me here, I'm in massive trouble. And slowly you find that He does, and your confidence grows. So I think that will be, a piece of advice maybe. And I haven't nailed it. I really, really haven't nailed it. But I guess God just keeps shoving me in uncomfortable situations. So you just try and work it out. But yeah.
What would you say to those who are asking, what's the point in a relationship with God?
Haha. I would say it is the point. Like, and I know that sounds ridiculous, but it goes back to what I was saying before, that I believe humanity was designed to be in relationship with God. At the beginning of time, when God created people, he literally breathed his spirit into humanity. And so in order to be fully human, you're designed to be in a relationship with God. So I think I've used this analogy before, but it's the idea of like having a Nesquik milkshake, but only having milk and only having chocolate powder, and handing someone a Nesquik milkshake that is only the chocolate powder, and then being like, well, that's not a milkshake. Like, you're only fully a milkshake when you mix those two things together. And so I think you're only really fully human when you're in relationship with God. That isn't to say that things are easier, and that isn't to say that your questions are removed or that things will just work out for you from that point forward. But if you go back to that idea of trusting the story, you begin to be a part of the story that is being told in humanity, and you are taking your place in the story that's being told. And I believe that God, when he designed the world to write this story in partnership with each of us. And so each of us has a role to play in that partnership. And I think in order to be all of who you were created to be, it's stepping into a relationship with God and taking your place in that story. I guess kind of like Simba in the circle of life in some ways. But it's not until you step into that. And so I would say the point is you becoming all of who you were created to be, in relationship with a God who designed you. I guess what you get out of it, a God who loves you, a God who has a plan for you and knows the best for you and loves you and wants the best for you. A God who grows you and stretches you, and when things are tough, doesn't necessarily just take the tough stuff away, but grows you in it, and cares about you too much to not let you grow in those situations. Yeah. So I think essentially it's the point of your being alive and your existence, which is a bit of a massive kind of thing to say, but I do believe it's true. So I'm going to just say. Great question. Very good.
Thanks.
Chocolate powder on its own is not nice.
No, dry, powdery.
Yeah, very dry. Nearly as bad as cinnamon.
Oh, yeah, no, that's bad. I've tried to do that before. That went really badly.
Did it?
Yeah, awful.
I surprised everyone, including myself, and had absolutely no problems with it whatsoever, which is really odd because I probably shouldn't have actually done it because I do have quite bad asthma.
Oh my God.
Literally no problems at all. Everyone's just like, okay, you've passed the cinnamon challenge. We're going to have to get you to do something else now.
Maybe that's your superpower.
It quite possibly is. Maybe that's like the thing which I'm good at, the gifting that God has given me, being able to do unlimited amounts of cinnamon challenges.
You could be like Cinnamon Man.
Yeah.
That could be your thing. And your costume could be just like cinnamon buns, just stuck to you everywhere.
Right, I'm making that costume now.
You really need to.
I'm doing that. I mean, I'd probably find in 15 years' time I'll have one massive asthma attack, but to make up for it all. But for 15 years as Cinnamon Man, the replacement for Iron Man, it would be worth it.
It would be worth it. It really would. I genuinely think you may have accidentally discovered your superpower.
I think I have. Thanks. I will take that from this.
Yeah, if nothing else. You
make a costume covered in cinnamon buns.
Yes. You'll be Cinnamon Man.
Who's got the next question?
It's me. What's your favourite part of your job?
Ooh. Oh yeah. Okay. So I mean, it's helping young people meet with God. Easy, hands down. I love working with young people, and I love helping them to experience the best thing I've ever experienced. And I think I love it when they've never had any experience of God before, and so for the first time a young person begins to even consider what God might mean or what it might even be to think about God. But I think equally there are loads of people who have had some form of relationship with God for years, but never really necessarily been in a relationship with God, if that makes sense. And helping them to discover that God is more than, don't do this, go to church, be at youth group on a whatever night. That is just finding ways to help young people get that. Oh my goodness, because it transforms their life as well, because God is just the most incredible. That is by far my favourite part of my job. I love it.
Was there a moment when you were younger where you suddenly had that kind of prodigal son, okay, I've got this, waking up moment, or was it kind of more of a longer stretch of journey?
Yeah, it was a longer one. I think I gave my life to Jesus when I was probably about 14, but I'd always been to church, but then probably didn't really mean a lot to me for ages. And then I can just remember like moments, like significant, like lots of significant moments. But I think that there were moments at things like Soul Survive, where I went forward and God just absolutely broke me, and there was snot and tears, and like afterwards you've got a headache and like that kind of thing. There were moments when I just was desperate and read my Bible, and God just pulled out exactly the right verse at exactly the right time. But yeah, I think for me it was probably more of a slow journey than just this. And I think it's almost sometimes more difficult when difficult when it's a slow journey, because I think you can be cultured into Jesus, if that makes sense. So like Jesus becomes a part of your diary and a part of your thought process, but not really a part of your heart. And you can get away with it. And that's the thing. You can get away with Jesus being a part of your diary for your whole life. But there's so much more to it. And so, I think it's fine to have lots and lots of, like, if someone said to me, when did you become a Christian? I think I could answer that question. I don't know. And I think that's all right, because it's a journey. I
think as well, sometimes it can kind of just become a family ritual as well, can't it?
Yeah. Big time. And this sounds a bit odd. I've never really used this analogy before, but I think you can, like, your relationship with Jesus can be a bit like your relationship with a YouTuber. So like, at a certain time every week some material is getting released, and so you will go and consume. But if I were to ask you, okay, well, what's a really precious moment that you guys have shared together? I know there was a pretty funny video they released a little while ago where they blew something up, but do you know what I mean? And I think we have to be really careful, and that's what I love about lockdown actually, is that some of that consuming piece is being taken away, and so it's much more on you to go, okay, well, how do I intentionally give space to creating precious moments with Jesus?
Absolutely. Laura now, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. What is your favourite Bible verse and why?
Ooh, okay, I'm going to ask you guys this question as well. Now, I have to confess, I'm not very good at remembering Bible verses off by heart. So I did know this question was coming, and I brought my Bible with me so I didn't get it wrong, because I would also make it sound rubbish if I tried to just do it off by heart, and then you'd be like, that's a lame Bible verse. So I'm giving you a heads up that I'm going to ask you guys what yours is. My favourite one, and this is a verse that me and my husband had inscribed inside of our wedding rings. So it's 2 Corinthians 5, verses 17 to 21. Should I read it? Can I read it? Is that okay? Because otherwise it doesn't really mean much, it's just numbers, right? So here. This means that anyone who belongs to Christ has become a new person. The old life has gone, the new life has begun. And all of this is a gift from God, who brought us back to himself through Christ. And God has given us this task of reconciling people to him. For God was in Christ, reconciling the world to himself, no longer counting people's sins against them. And he gave us this wonderful message of reconciliation. So we are Christ's ambassadors. God is making his appeal through us. We speak for Christ when we plead, come back to God. For God made Christ, who never sinned, to be an offering for our sins, so that we could be made right with God through Christ. And that is why I didn't memorize it. It's very long, but that's my favourite. Yeah. What would you say, Joe? What's yours?
What, me?
Yeah. I'm buying the other guys extra time to think if they haven't.
Yeah. So I'm equally bad at remembering Bible verses, but it's the one I think it's in Corinthians, about God being king, but not but humbling himself, and not considering equality with the Father to be something to be grasped, but actually it just really speaks to me about like the power of being a servant, and actually there's real power in humility and being humble, and it's not necessarily about being like the most confident person on the planet, but actually God values the meek as well. And so that's kind of it for me, I think.
Wow, that's cool. Any of you guys want to go next?
I don't know the exact one, but it's like you can do anything through him. So build your confidences in, if you've got a dream and you want to go and achieve it, then if you believe it and work hard enough, then I guess he'll help you get there.
Wow, that's nice. Good one, Jen. Yeah. I know which one you mean. Anybody else got one?
I've got one. I think I got this at the first Soul Survivor I went to. It's like a magnet of it. And it says, he can do immeasurably more than we can ask or imagine. And I just think it's really like powerful, because like sometimes you're doing something and you think it's too big for God, but then like that just reminds you that we can't even imagine how much he can do. So we don't need to doubt anything that he does or can do.
Yeah, amazing. Really good. Really, really good. Yeah. James or Hannah, have you got anything you want to contribute? No pressure at all.
Yeah, I got one.
Okay, go for it.
Because the hand of the Lord my good was on me, I took courage.
Nice. Really good.
Yeah.
Really, really good. Lovely. Hannah, you got one?
I've got Proverbs 16:9. We can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. And I like it because I just like the inspirational sort of strength that it gives you.
Yeah, that's good. I like that one as well. Reminds me to hold things loosely. Like, I want to do this. But we'll see what God wants. Like that. It's good. Yeah. Really good. Really, really good. Strong verses, people. Strong verses.
I think that one reinforces what you were saying before, Laura, as well, about trusting God's story, that he's got a plan for this and he's got a specific path for each of us to take through it, to get to his promises.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, it's a great verse. Yeah.
What's the next question? I've lost track now of mine. Hannah, I think it's you.
Yeah. What would be a relationship deal breaker for you?
I'm gonna go two, because the first one's like standard. So they have to really love Jesus, like 100% have to love Jesus. Like I can't. I mean, if you believe that your life is an adventure that God's got waiting for you, and some of it's going to suck, but some of it's going to be awesome, then I really would like the person who I spend my time with and who I'm closest to has to be on that adventure too. And I think I'm about to say something, and then I'm thinking I'm going to regret saying this, because in a year you don't know what Jesus is going to say. But like I'm somebody who I want God to ask big things of me. Like I say that. It makes me nervous to say that out loud, because God goes, okay, then fine, do this. But I want God to ask big things of me, because I want to be involved in the cool stuff that God's doing, and I want the most important person in my life to be involved in that with me. And so if God goes, right, give away all your money, then I couldn't do that if the person I was in a relationship with was like, why are you doing that? I wanted to buy a hot tub, or do you know what I mean? I don't know, like I wanted to get a bike. So I think for me, the God I love Jesus is like the core of what I'm about, and I want the person who I'm in a relationship to share that. Now, so that's my like number one standard answer, but I mean it. Number two, relationship deal breaker, they have to be fun. Like I really like having fun. And so my husband is a lot of fun. Yeah, he is. He's a lot of fun. And so I really need someone to have fun with, because otherwise things just get a lot and too intense. So that would be the other relationship deal breaker for me. They really love Jesus, and I've got to have fun with them. And they need to be willing to put up with my silliness as well, because I'm almost certain I'm a nightmare. So yeah, they need to be patient and resilient enough to put up with me and the things that I do. I promise you this is true. Once, my husband and I, when we first got married, I didn't know it at the time, but we only had £10 left in our bank account, and I accidentally went and bought a rabbit onesie. And so I couldn't do the food shop that week because I'd spent our last £10 on a rabbit onesie. And having to explain that to your husband, like, he really does have to be patient with me. So yeah.
What was his response to that?
I don't think he was that surprised. I think I went to the shop and tried to buy food, and I couldn't because there was no money on my card. And so I had to text my husband and go, I'm really sorry. I've spent all our money. And he was like, what on? We didn't have a lot. And then I just put on the rabbit onesie and did like face paints and just was like and just sent a picture message to him. And he was like, you're an idiot. I said, yes, sometimes I am. Yeah, that's okay.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
But you got a cool story out of it to tell. So
Exactly. Yeah.
Win-win.
Worth £10.
Yeah, exactly.
He also let me keep the onesie, which I was delighted about. So that was it. It was all worth it in the end.
Exactly. Onesie and a story.
Yeah.
What question are we on now? Okay, what kind of question? Actually, this is James's question. Why am I saying it? James, you go for it.
What kind of a parent do you want to be?
Okay. I thought this was a great question. Did you think of this question, James?
No.
I read it and I was like, that's an interesting question.
Someone did. We can't remember who though.
That's a great question. I think I want to be the kind of parent who is fiercely and relentlessly loving. And so what I mean by that is I think I want to be a parent who really protects their kids, really is for them. Have you ever seen a film called The Blind Side?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, right. Guys, if you've not seen it, it's my favourite film. You have to watch The Blind Side. Like, cancel whatever you've got on for the rest of the day. Watch The Blind Side. It is amazing. I essentially want to be just like Sandra Bullock in that film. She is amazing. And it's the best film. And it's based on a true story. It's excellent. So someone who like fiercely protects, fiercely loves, fiercely fights for, but at the same time is totally resilient. So if my kid tells me that I'm doing their head in and I'm embarrassing them, which I inevitably will do, I will do that, that I can take that and that's okay. And they will know, my child will know that whatever happens, whatever they say to me, whatever they do, they are loved. And I will still fight for them and I will still stand by them. Yeah, that is the kind of parent I would like to be. Fierce and relentless. But watch The Blind Side, most importantly.
It's such a good movie. So my brother bought me that for Christmas back when DVDs were a thing, yeah. And he's an atheist. Yeah, gosh, that suddenly made me feel really old then. And he's an atheist to the extent like he's drawn pictures of portraits of Richard Dawkins and hung them up in his room. Richard Dawkins, a famous atheist, wrote books like The God Delusion. Anyway, he got me this DVD and said, "You've got to watch this. I mean, it's about a Christian family, and I'm not a Christian." And he did say that just to reinforce that to me. But this family are amazing, and this is what Christians should be like, I think.
Oh, it's so good. I'm building it up now. I know you'll watch it. You'll be like, it's not that good. Watch it this afternoon. Watch it. It's so good. So good.
We'll do like a Netflix party at some point to watch it.
Oh, honestly, next level.
What's the next question?
What's on your bucket list for this year?
Ooh. Well, ironically, if you'd have asked me at the start of the year, it'd been a very different thing. Now I'm like, eat out anywhere, see a person. They are on my bucket list. I think, what would I love to do this year? So I don't know whether I'm going to be able to do this. I'd like to go to Venice. That will be on my bucket list this year. I'd like to go to Venice or Amsterdam for a weekend. That would be nice. As I say, it's unlikely at this stage. My bucket list for this year, I think there's like a whole bunch of books that I want to read, which again sounds, whether you're into reading or not, I've always got a million books I want to read, but there's a few that I'm like, if I can nail these this year, I'm very proud of myself. I'm wondering about getting a tattoo. That's possibly on my bucket list this year. Maybe going to do that. That might be an out of lockdown based activity. And I would like to finish decorating my house. Again, it sounds like a really lame thing, but if I tell you I've lived in my house for 10 years and there's loads of stuff that I've just not bothered doing, I'd like to do some of those things. And also get to eat that cheesecake again from Digbeth Dining Club.
Yes.
That would be a strong year for me. I have heard they're starting to do click and collect though, so I'm wondering whether that could be something that I do tick off my bucket list. Yeah, I think at the start of the year, I was hoping to like go to a music festival this summer. I was hoping to like go traveling for a week somewhere. There was loads of things, but I think I'm having to scale down my bucket list. What about you guys? Do you guys have things that you are hoping to do in this new crazy world this year?
Well, college starts this year, so it'll be my first year of college, so kind of just settling in, making new friends and all that. It's sort of quite high on my bucket list, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
that's good.
Getting out and going new places, getting out of my comfort zone a bit more.
Nice. Hannah, you got anything?
Well, obviously we're not at school at the moment, so getting back into school and just getting back into a routine and stuff. I really want that to happen. So.
Yeah. Wow. James?
Probably living a like more healthier life and just doing my best at everything that comes.
Yeah, that's strong. Laura?
Kind of the same like Jenna, like making new friends at college, but also I want to learn some new songs on my guitar as well.
Yes. Anything you got your eye on?
But I screenshotted a lot of things from Tom Smith's things that he puts in Instagram from Soul Survivor, so I want to learn some of those.
Nice, lovely. Joe, you got anything?
I was just going to say, Laura, just not deflecting or anything. Laura, you're meant to be going to Canada this year as well, aren't you? At some point.
Yeah.
So pray that can happen. I think for me, so I had a moment about 2 weeks or so ago, which I think I've kind of shared a bit about, where like I was just being like an extrovert. I was just going absolutely mad on my day off, not being able to kind of actually see people physically. And the weird thing was, like, if I did anything online, like if I did like a quiz night or anything like that, that seemed to kind of make it worse at that point, because it just reminded me that I couldn't kind of be there with them. And I went for like a really long walk at about midnight, not 10k long, but long anyway. And I just had like this wrestling with God, and God sort of saying to me, well, this lockdown can kind of take away things like with physical relationships and stuff like that, but what it can't take away is your ability to work on your relationship with me. And so I think genuinely, from a real kind of, it's easy for us to say this as Christians, but from a real kind of place of heart, where I just prayed at that point and literally felt Jesus come and grab my heart. By the way, if you don't want him to come into your heart at any point, don't ever say to him things like, I'm letting you into the part of my heart that I haven't given you permission to go into before, because you will go in there straight away. And so I genuinely think for me that this lockdown has recentered me to wanting to make him genuinely from a heart place my priority. So I'd say whatever happens, if I come out of this year with a deeper relationship with God, then that will be amazing.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so I guess I would add to mine then that like finding some, whatever the healthy rhythms look like at the back of this, that they fall into place as well. I think that's a strong answer.
Definitely. I think we've got 2 more questions left. Are you all right for time at the moment?
Yeah, don't worry.
Awesome. Laura, I think it's you now, isn't it?
Yeah. How did you get so good at public speaking?
Oh, well, that's nice that you'd say that you thought I was good. So thank you. That's really kind. I grew up in a really tiny church, teeny tiny. I think most Sundays there were probably like 20 something people there. Other Sundays there were like 10. And when I was about 14, the people in my church were really kind and really gracious and started letting me speak. And I'm pretty sure I didn't say anything that was particularly helpful, but they were really sweet and really encouraging. And so part of it is that I've just done it for ages. So, and that's because someone was really kind and gave me a shot when I wasn't like very old. But I think also like I guess in the same as other things, like whether it's playing guitar or whether it's like flute or football, gaming, whatever else, like the more you do it the better you get. And I have had some absolute shockers, like speaking really like horrendous, just bad, where I've been like speaking and my clothes have got attached to my hat, so I was like wearing a scarf and it got attached to my bracelet, so I was stuck like this speaking for like half an hour, and then I had to like end up literally ripping my clothes partly for my talk. Loads of stuff has gone horribly wrong, but through things going wrong you learn, right? And so I think I grew up doing drama as well, so my degree is in performing arts and theology, and so I think that's probably helped me in terms of just being comfortable on a stage and not minding being in front of people.
So was it actually in performing arts and theology then as a joint degree?
So it was like two halves of the degree, so they didn't really blend. I studied performing arts and I studied theology, and so together it made like one degree. But I also have a really short attention span, so that probably helps because I get it's not even that I get bored, I just can't focus for very long. So I don't know whether that helps because I assume that everyone else has a short attention span. But that's kind of you say that you thought it was good, so that's nice. But I think really it's just that someone ages ago was like super kind and let me have a go at it when I was pretty rubbish. But it's fun though. It's fun doing it. I enjoy it. But yeah.
We've got quite a lot of performing artsy youth in the church at the moment. So my degree was in performing arts as well.
Was it now?
And then I did my master's in some kind of theology related thing. I can't quite remember what it was now. Yeah, and Lara, you're very performing-y, aren't you? Well, you're going off to do it. Technical theatre, is that right?
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
so we got about 10 or 11. We were until this year kind of doing quite big productions at Christmas, and we were about to do like a sort of big Easter school thing, but then obviously we couldn't do that now, so we're gonna try and do that at another point, I think.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah. So on doing another point, Hannah, what's your question?
Do you believe in second chances?
Big time. I'm very grateful for them myself. Yeah, definitely. I think I think God is so good and so forgiving, and I think part of the reason why forgiveness is really important for us is because God gives us second chances all the time, and he asks us to do the same for other people. And I think if you're someone who's ever known what it is to make a mistake or get something wrong, then you know how important second chances are. And I think that's not necessarily something to go, oh well, I'll get a second chance, I'll just screw up again, never mind. But I do, and so I think we do need to like aim to be moving in the right direction. I think that's really important. But I think second chances are entirely possible. They're important, but equally it's really important we give other people second chances as well. Is what I would say. Yeah.
And then we got one more question. This is a really deep one from James. So be prepared to have the deepest question of your life. It's going to be really, really meaningful way to end this session.
Right.
What's the most embarrassing moment of your life?
Yeah, this is the problem, you see. So Russell Brand, do you know who Russell Brand is?
Yeah.
Right. So Russell Brand has this quote where he said, my life is just a series of embarrassing incidents strung together with telling other people about those embarrassing incidents. I really feel like I identify with that. Like I embarrass myself so often, and there are so many. There are just so many. Gosh, yeah, loads. So often they involve a clothing misfunction for me as well. So I often overexpose myself accidentally. I have a series of those. One day I forgot to do my clothes up when I went to the office at work. And the wind blew, and then I was pretty much stood in the office in my underwear, which was horrendous. There was a time when I was stood in front of my boss, and I had a skirt on, like a long skirt with an elasticated waist. I was holding a box, and I put the box down, but the box landed on the bottom of my skirt. So as I stood up, my skirt stayed where it was, and so my skirt just totally came down in front of my boss. That was great. There have been times when I hosted at church and my dress was entirely see-through, and someone had to come and tell me that I needed to go home and change. This is an odd one. When I was younger, this is odd, sounds weird. My teachers, when I was in secondary school, I used to have like a little cow, like a little, I sound weird now. So I had a backpack, like a school bag, but I had like a little cow that I had in a pocket in my school bag. And my teachers stole my cow, held it for ransom, and then held an entire assembly in front of my whole year group about the fact that my cow had been taken. And I can honestly tell you, it was so humiliating and so embarrassing. I just wanted the ground to swallow me up. Yeah, there are so many. I overturned a boat accidentally, like a sailing boat, and ended up having to call the lifeguards out and get cut out of it because I'm an idiot and didn't know how to drive the boat, but just thought, oh, I'll just do it, and then ended up having to be cut out of it with my friend. There are so many. Just I get myself into embarrassing situations all the time. It's probably my most common emotion, embarrassment. Happens a lot. Loads.
James is back in the room now. His phone cut out for a sec, but
James, it's nice to see you again.
Answers. Basically, upshot of it is Laura embarrasses herself a lot. She was saying
all the time.
Have any of you got any embarrassing moments that you want to share to everyone else in the youth group who's watching this?
Me?
Yeah, let's start with you, James. Why not? Sure.
Yeah.
Can't really think of any on the top of my head.
Have you got any embarrassing moments about me? Because I'm pretty certain that I literally embarrass myself 90% of the time. But you know, when you just get to the point where you decide you just got to own it and accept it's kind of who you are and part of your charm, you know. So it tends to be more foot in mouth stuff for me. So I tend to kind of accidentally probably offend an entire nation in 1 second just by saying something slightly wrong. Or just doing stuff, or just doing ditzy stuff, like when I first second time I went out to Malawi, because I'm a bit of a nightclubber, and I'd been using my passport as ID at the time, and it then didn't get accepted at Heathrow, so then I had to go out like a day later and get a new passport in between and stuff like that. So tends to lead to adventures a lot of the time as well.
Yeah.
I don't use my passport for stuff like that anymore. No. Well, for airports, not for clubbing.
Yeah, no, airports tend to like passports. That's the important part.
They don't necessarily like your driving license. They don't accept that. So.
Right. Anybody else got any embarrassing moments?
Can't remember any, to be fair. Forget about them if they embarrassed me.
Yeah, just block them out.
Yeah.
That never happened.
Yeah.
Laura, have you got any funny stage stories or anything? Because I've got a million of when I've accidentally in front of 1,000 people screwed up an entire scene and just had to try not to wet myself laughing while also pretending to die on stage or whatever.
Last year when I was in a show, my shoe fell off halfway through a dance, So I just had to kind of run to the back of the stage and put my shoe back on. Then
Yeah.
when I got back to the front, my head of year was just there laughing at me.
Yeah.
And then also in the Christmas show that we did at church, someone dropped. We had like these, I don't know what they're called. Those the sticks that we were holding. The Roman soldiers had them, and this little kid dropped his, and all of us in the scene just started laughing. That's quite embarrassing. Hannah's laughing about that.
Yeah.
That was funny. We felt bad for him, but all of us just watched it go down in slow motion. It was quite amazing.
Yeah. And you can't do anything at that point either. You just got to stand there and watch it go.
Yeah.
The bad thing is we were stood like right in front of the front row of the audience as well. It was like right in front of them, and we just stood there like.
Yeah, nightmare.
I think something I did in that show really threw everyone as well, didn't it? Because I came in slightly earlier with my short monologue over the band playing Arabian Nights, and then it turned out the person after me had been using the end of my monologue as the cue to start singing rather than the music, and so they came in about half a verse, about 8 bars too early, so the music wasn't right behind. So then I had to wait about like 5 minutes before then coming in with the second verse to try and catch it back up again. So you've got all these dancers who are then waiting for my cue, just kind of standing there like jazz hands for like a good 15 seconds waiting for me to do my bit. Isn't that about right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those moments make shows though, I think. Those are the bits you remember like 10 years later.
Definitely are.
Do we have one more question, I think? Who's it from?
That was it.
That was it. That was it, wasn't it? Okay, brilliant. Thanks so much for that, Laura.
Pleasure. Thank you so much for hanging out. It's been fun.
Thank you.
I talked a lot. Thank you for listening so well. I talk loads.
It was good. Good.
Thanks.
Yeah. Does anyone want to pray quickly?
Mm.
Is that a yes, James?
No, not.
It's very much not a yes.
I've been kind of picking on James every day for the last 4 weeks now. So, does anyone want to have a go at praying, pushing yourself out a bit?
I'll do
I
it.
can actually hear a clock ticking in the background. I'm wondering.
I'll do it.
Well done,
Yes, Laura.
Lord, I thank you for this time that we shared with Laura today and all of the insightful things that she's told us about God and everything that she's done in her life to get her to where she is now. I pray that everyone has a good week and that everyone looks to you for guidance when they need it. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Great prayer.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me.
It's all
No
right.
problem. Thanks so much for coming.
No, that's great. Thank you. And enjoy the rest of your, what day is it? Thursday?
Thursday,
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
Yeah. One at the moment. I forget.
Yeah, it feels like that. I've lost track completely.
Every day is just 2020 from now on.
Yeah.
So I've decided. There's no Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
No.
Define each day partly just by what event happens to be happening that evening and just by what year it is.
Yeah. Even months, I have no real idea.
I have no idea how we've got to halfway through May when it was March. Last time I went into a supermarket. That wasn't quite that bad, but.
Oh, wicked. Well, thank you so much, guys. It's been really nice getting to know you and to meet you over here. Thank you for having me. Have a really nice rest of your Thursday.
You too.
You too.
See you later.
Right.
Bye.
Take care.